Center for Victory's podcast of your best day yet. Here at Center for Victory, we are here to help unlock, reinforce, and enrich relationships through personal and professional development. My name's Josiah Guy. I'm an intern here at Center for Victory, and to my left, we have Zack DelTurco, executive consultant here at Center for Victory.
It's good to be back.
And today, we're talking about dangerous dreams. So what does that mean, Zack?
Yeah,
What does
so
dangerous dreams mean?
dangerous dreams, number one, it was to get your attention. But number two, when you think about a dangerous dream, I think about my first dangerous dream that I've ever had. I was probably like 12 years old, and I was over at my cousin's house, and we were watching this movie called Cold Creek Manor. And it was this plot that somebody was murdered at this vacation home, and it was very dark and very gruesome. And I remember at the age of 12, I was having some really, really bad dreams after I watched that movie. And then I was just starting to think, I was putting this together, and I was like, man, what would happen if I use that analogy, dangerous dreams, to talk about, hey, you've been placed here on purpose for a purpose. A majority of us, I would say, have a dream, but a majority of us probably don't have dangerous dreams. And what I mean by that is dreaming bigger and having a goal that is bigger than yourself, that you can't accomplish on your own. Right.
And so going off of that, so you said like you had like a nightmare at the age of 12, because I think you said in your notes that you watched like an R-rated movie as a 12-year-old with your cousin, right?
Yeah.
So it was like your first experience. You're like, yeah, I get to go watch this really scary movie.
Sleepover.
Right,
I'm a big guy.
Hype, right?
Yeah.
You're like just getting in your teens, but you're still in that mindset where you're like, yeah, I get to go sleep over with my friends. This is awesome. But then at the end of it, you kind of regretted that decision. Like you had that nightmare, and you're like, crap, like that was scary.
It was a crazy, dangerous dream. And, you know, what I realized was, you know, years later, I mean, that was kind of an analogy of how I wanted to live my life, but in a positive way. Because I see people who are very successful, and I know one thing about success: it requires you to dream bigger than yourself. And sometimes, for some people, it can be dangerous to do that, to get outside of your comfort zone. Because the reality is, everybody will end up somewhere, but few people end up somewhere on purpose.
Ooh, okay.
So I'll say that one more time. Everybody ends up somewhere, but few people end up somewhere on purpose. And that's the idea of dreaming. And what happens when you begin to have a dream? What happens when you begin to write those things down in front of you every single day? You know, part of my daily discipline is to write 4 to 5 goals that I have for this year.
That's good.
And those 4 to 5 things are bigger than I can do on my own. So it's like, okay, I'm gonna have these stretch goals that are kind of scary to look at, but I know even if I get to 75% of those goals, I'm doing better than I would if I would just set realistic goals.
Right, that's fulfilling when you reach those goals that you set for yourself. So I think that's a good thing to segue off of, because with purpose and trying to reach your purpose, a lot of that's goal based, right?
Yeah.
So you said that when you're keeping goals, that you usually have like 4 to 5 that you set for yourself, and then from that you can kind of benchmark yourself, keep track for yourself.
Yeah.
So I think this might be a good thing to ask, because a lot of people watching will be able to apply. What's some like tips you can give for keeping goals, keeping yourself on track so you can reach that purpose?
Yeah. I think there's 3 things that we have to look at, and we'll talk about it here in a couple minutes. But I always measure my goals based on 3 things. My past experience is number 1. Okay. Number 2 is my gifts. I believe that I've received gifts ever since I was born.
Right.
And then number 3 is your values. So number 1, past experience. What has led me up to this point?
Right.
I believe that your past will prepare you for your present, and that your present can actually make an impact for things that you struggle with in the past. So number 2 is your gifts. So what gifts do you have? And we'll talk about this in a little bit, but number 3 is your values. So when you align those three things together, then you can start working off a frame of how do I want to reach those goals.
Right, that's good. So you have there past experience. So for you, how important is looking back at past experiences, both good and bad.
Yeah.
Because you can, have things where you fail at doing something, but you can learn from it, right? And then, there's good things, of course, in your past that you can work off of. So for you, how important is past experience? And then why is it so key to look at things in the past so that you can build off of that, and then you have those goals so you can obviously fulfill that purpose?
Yeah. I think past experience is one of the biggest things in my life. And I've had an awesome life. I'm 8 years old. Yeah, I'm 28.
Gotta think about it for a second.
I'm 28 years old, but here's the thing. I've lived a lot up to this point. I try to look at my day and say, what can I get out of this day? Instead of allowing the day to control me, I like to control my days to say, I'm going to get the most out of every day that I can. I'm going to make an impact with as many people as I can. But I look back at my life and I realize there were some pivotal moments, and sometimes it's the negative or not so good moments that actually define and redefine who I was as a person. And just an example is, I have a heart for the fatherless just because I went without a father for about 6 months. But I had an uncle that stepped in and really raised me, and my mom was amazing. And me and my dad have an awesome relationship right now, but those 6 months made me realize what happens to those young men and young ladies that never had a dad.
Right.
And that's what really helped me grow to have a heart for the fatherless and say, how can I help those young men succeed in life? Because they don't have mentors. They don't have people that are investing in their life and believing in them. So that was a past experience. Now that I'm on the other side of it, my biggest pain has become my biggest purpose, or one of my greatest purposes.
Right, can you repeat that last part? Because I think that's really big.
Your biggest pain can become your greatest purpose.
That's so big.
Your greatest pain can become your greatest purpose. And a lot of people, what we do is we're miserable through that process.
Right, yeah.
And I would look back and say, why did this happen to me? And moving forward, if I ever have something like that happening to me again, I would embrace the pain to say, I know that this pain is going to result in a greater purpose down the road.
Right, and I think it is hard when you're going through things that, aren't going your way. You kind of question, why is this happening to me? I think that sort of leads into your second point of gifts. Yeah. When you're going through the mud and you got to kind of have that perseverance to get through, it can be kind of hard to see it in the present, right? But leading to your next thing, like I said, how do you think that leads into gifts? Because obviously there's a little bit of having that purpose and going through the thick of things, but eventually that'll lead to something bigger. And it will build off of your gifts. So, leading to that second thing, how important are gifts?
So I want to take a look at 3 people real quick.
Okay.
Number 1, Walt Disney.
Good.
Number 2, Martin Luther King Jr. And number 3, Mother Teresa.
Oh, those are 3 big names.
Yeah.
There you go.
So I want to just read some of the quotes that they said about gifts or dreams. Walt Disney, I would say he has the gift of creativity, right? Would you assume that he could see what isn't present and begin to develop and communicate? So I would say he has the gift of creativity and communication to get his goal accomplished. But he said this, he said, if you dream it, you can do it. Always remember, this whole thing was started with a dream and a mouse. He was a visionary.
Right.
He could communicate, he was creative, and he saw that dream in front of him.
Right.
So he had the gift of communication, leadership, and creativity.
Right.
Martin Luther King. Everybody knows Martin Luther King. What was he? He was a leader. And he said this. He said, I have a dream that my 4 children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. Would we say that dream has come to pass?
Yeah. Holy
so
cow.
Martin Luther King, he has a gift of what? He's a visionary, communicate, leader.
Yep.
The last one, Mother Teresa, everybody knows her, being unwanted and unloved, uncared for, forgotten by everyone. I think that is much greater than hunger, a much greater poverty than the person who has nothing to eat. What was she known for?
Right.
What was Mother Teresa known for?
She was known for bringing up those people that are in the thick of it, like really in the thick of it, and bringing those people up. So I'd say that, she had the gift of being a leader, but she also had the heart for people who were just less fortunate.
Yeah.
But she knew that those people had gifts too.
Yeah.
So.
And I think if we would kind of ask you this question for everybody who's listening, what is your dream in life?
Right.
What is your dream in life? Well,
right.
You know what a lot of people would say? A nice house.
Yeah.
A nice car. To travel.
Right.
To get a bigger house maybe, or to be in a relationship.
Yeah.
But I think a dream should be bigger than yourself. A dream should be a legacy that is carried on to the next generation. That's my definition of a dream.
A dream is a legacy.
Is a legacy.
Yeah. That's
that
big.
you pass on your children's children or to the next generation.
Right.
So that's kind of my platform of when I think about dreaming.
Yeah, that's important, because I think having those dreams, it all kind of comes down to your moral compass, your core values.
Yeah.
Sort of like, instead of believing in the monetary in yourself and thinking more selfishly, it's more thinking about like future generations and your legacy.
Yeah.
What am I going to leave here that's going to help people in the future?
Yeah.
Instead of thinking of, if I save up this amount of money, bang, I got the car. That car breaks down, right?
Yeah.
And then, your kids aren't going to be able to use that. Your grandkids certainly probably aren't going to be able to use that car. But it's important to have those core values. So for you, number one, I want to ask you, what are your core values that lead you to, like you said, you want to be a father for the fatherless. What are those core values that you build up for yourself that lead you to that? And then I also want to ask, for people who might have core values but are kind of still searching, or maybe just want to reevaluate, what are some tips you have for that?
Yeah,
on that.
I love what Warren Buffett says about character integrity, and integrity is one of my core values. He says you can have integrity for 20 years and you only need 5 minutes to destroy that.
Wow.
So you can build your legacy for 20 years and say have integrity, but all it does is take 5 minutes to destroy that. So integrity is a pillar for me. I want people to say Zach's the same in public as he is in private. The second one is character. I want people to know me as a man of character, a man of honesty, and a good steward of the resources that I've been given. So those are just some of the values that I hold within myself and within my family.
Right. So then, going off of that, for people who might be looking for core values, how did you come up with I want to have integrity, like you said, I want to have character, honesty, etc. How do you build up those things and know that those are like your words, like your goals? That's what you want to build your purpose around. How do you find those?
That's a good question. And it really does come down to, number one, past experience, and number two, gifts. And what I really like to do is I'm a man of faith, and I'm not shy about that, but I really take a look at the life and ministry of Jesus, and I try to say, how can I mimic what he did here on this earth? And if you would look at Jesus, he was a man of integrity.
Right.
He had character. He was a great steward.
Right.
And he was on it, and he had honesty. Like, nobody could say, you know what, he's done wrong, or he's messed up, or he's cheated. Like, he was a man who was blameless to me. And that's just my belief, and I'm not going to put my belief on anybody else, but that's really where I find my core values, is in the person that I look up to the most.
So somebody that you can call like a hero.
A hero. Yeah. That's exactly, it might not be Jesus, but it could be a hero in your life that you say, man, I want to mimic my life after that person. Right.
Like, I think for me, I'm also a person of faith, and I look up to Jesus too. I think he's a hero in my life. But I also look up to my dad a lot, who usually sits in this chair. So for me, it's like, wow, I get to sit in his chair.
I look up to your dad too.
Yeah. He's a pretty cool guy. I think he's a pretty cool guy. But just the things that he lives for, he always is people first. Like, no matter what he does, the mission of this company, the mission of his life, it's people first.
I love that.
And I think for me, being able to live under a roof where my father is all for that, has been really big for me. I think that goes back to past experiences. You know, I lived under my dad, you know, constantly looking at other people, looking at me, looking at my sister, my mom before him.
Yeah.
And I think for a lot of people that's hard. Like, you want to, you know, build up yourself so that you can be successful, right?
Yeah.
But sometimes, you know, that calling is just being there for people or being bigger than that. So I think that's really good. Is there anything else you want to add on to the topic we're talking about?
I think I just want to go back to this quote, and this will be my final thing I say, is everyone will end up somewhere, but few people will end up somewhere on purpose. And if you're listening to this today, or if you're listening to this from a year from now, I encourage you to stop what you do for an hour and start to think about some dangerous dreams, some dreams that are bigger than yourself, that the generations behind you can live out.
It's big. It's good.
That's it.
That's it, man. Glad you guys tuned in today. If you'd like to connect with us, you can go to our website at www.centerforvictory.com, or you can call us at 724-462-8383. If you enjoyed the podcast, we have a new one every Monday. It goes up at 12 p.m. Be sure to tune in, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment, anything on your mind. We'll be happy to answer that as well. And remember, make this your best day yet. We'll see you next time.